Good evening and welcome back to the Collegiate Star League. My name is Toffees. I'm here every Tuesday and Thursday night bringing you the best in Dota action from the college scene. This is the middle of our season for the new CSL. Basically, we got $15,000 of scholarships. They're going to be going out to the top teams as well as a trip to a LAN final. Now tonight, due to some scheduling issues, we roll into the holiday season. We decided to put up a scrim as none of the teams are available for official games. So this is Carnegie Mellon University versus Rochester Institute of Technology. I'm joined by my co-caster as always on these evenings, Gorgon the Wonder Cow. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. Happy to see a Pudge come out, making this scrim a bit happy. You know, a little bit of goof probably going down. It's not an official sanctioned game, and so I'm expecting to see a lot of fun, interesting strategies from these teams.
Basically, that's what we see a lot of when you talk about covering scrims. Teams trying some new things out, getting a chance to see how they work. And this is, for CMU scenario, boys, fairly, I don't want to say cheesy to start with, but definitely something that I tend not to see in first, second picks in competitive play as a Pudge bounty hunter in the 1-2 position.
It's not cheesy so much as it's just very pubby, right? I mean, Pudge at the 2K level, he's the most played hero. At the 3K level, he's the second most played hero. He's top 10, I think, for all the way up through until you get to like the pro level of play. So he's a very popular hero just in general because he's fun. Right, he's got that skill shot. He's very rewarding. He gives you that sense of satisfaction when you land something. He's not necessarily great on a team versus team level, but he, like I said, he's just fun.
He seems like a Heroes of the Storm sort of hero, to be honest with you. That said, let's talk a little bit about maybe we're going to talk about draft, but we can also talk a little about what's going on in the CSL. Since this is a scrim, so I don't want to overanalyze the draft, as obviously this isn't going to be game-breaking meta stuff. This is people trying some things out. But if you do go over to the CSL website, it's cstarleague.com. You can have your chance to sign up for the banner contest going on right now. The top banner that's designed by a fan or a member of the CSL will be picked on the website, and the winner will receive 5 Razer headsets. So if you know a graphic designer and get them on board, you can give them 3 and keep 2 for yourself. So make sure you tell your friends to head over to cstarleague.com and check it out. Now, this draft, there's a lot of stuff. So on the top, when you look at Rochester, I see a lineup that is, I don't want to say atypical. Is it Tusk, Darkseer, Winter, Wyvern? These are pretty popular heroes in the meta right now. On the opposite side for CMU, I would say it's very opposite of that. Bounty Hunter isn't as popular nearly as he used to be. Pudge, never seen. Rubik has been showing up a little bit lately, but still really only as a situational pick.
Yeah, Rubik we see pretty commonly. He's top 20 most played probably. Definitely top 25. The Chinese teams still love him, and some teams still execute with him at the pro level regardless. He is very good into heroes like Winter Wyvern that do have that big ulti to steal. But we do see a little bit less of him partially because you aren't seeing as many of those big ulti heroes come out like your Linas. And also you're not seeing as much magic damage, so the null field isn't nearly as strong. But that said, we do still see him, and I think that he is good in this scenario. I do like Rochester's combo here, though. They can tusk in with their entire team, then pull with the Darkseer the opponent's entire team into an area and use the Winter's Curse in order to force them all to attack somebody. So that's great.
While Razor's ultimate is running. So lots of synergy here, lots of damage from Rochester Institute of Technology. Venom, it does insist, however, that he is currently heavily out-drafting the guys from Rochester, so interested to see if that comes true or not. As this is, of course, a best-of-3 series, we're going to play it just like a tournament game would be played, so we got a nice, long night of Dota for you guys. I know what you're all thinking. I needs Dota. I watched majors all day today. I'm just killing time till they start back up. Why is nobody broadcasting competitive Dota? And that's why we're here right now. Now, Gyrocopter picked up by CMU. Hero we've been seeing a lot of lately, especially in the CSL. A lot of pickups of this Gyrocopter. What do you attribute the popularity of Gyrocopter at this level to?
He honestly never fell off from last patch, right? He was very big at TI. I mean, aggressive notably ran him very frequently and very, well, aggressively at that tournament, all the way to second place through the upper bracket finals. He has a great deal of physical damage. He splashes well. He comes into the game early and then fades out. That kind of hits the pacing that a lot of pro teams like to hit right now, and I think that synergy with the sort of strategies that are popular is going to bleed into the way that players and teams at this level view the game as well, because they are, of course, modeling to some degree after pro players. It's basically impossible not to be, because those are the guys that you look to try and learn to be better.
So what are you looking for when it comes to the final pickups on this thing? What do you think these two teams are going to be going for in their last pick spots?
I think actually Rochester wanted the gyrocopter. They're going to grab the Meepo instead. But I think they wanted the gyrocopter. For CMU, that's difficult to say. They're going to want something with AoE, maybe an Earthshaker offlane. Earthshaker is an okay counter to Meepo. He's not the best ever, because Meepo does have a higher base magic resistance than most heroes to kind of counter off that. It's 35% instead of 25%. He's one of the only heroes in the game that does not have that base 25% magic resistance built into his armor. So, but Earthshaker, obviously, because you have so many Meepos and they poop in, can still even overcome that little bit of advantage that Meepo might have. So he is still in the pool. He can still be grabbed. He can initiate from range pretty safely. He can blink away pretty safely. That's what I would expect just based on metagame to be coming out for the offlane here. And there it is.
There it is. So how often do you get to see Meepo in a competitive match?
A lot right now.
Really?
I mean, not a lot, but we have two big name teams that have signature Meepo players right now. Secret and OG have signature Meepo players, and they literally force out bans on that Meepo frequently. So outside of those two teams, you basically never see them. But because Secret and OG are two of the most active teams in the world, and they also happen to be two of the higher ranked teams in the world, you tend to see that Meepo a fair amount just from that.
Why don't we see Meepo more? Is it just because he's easily counterable, or is it because in order to play him well, you have to put so much time into it that a lot of pro players just aren't willing to do
I don't think it's either of those. I think it's the fact that he hurts his team so significantly.
Right. Okay.
He steals every bit of gold on the map. Each one of his Meepos is sucking up experience around the map, which means if you don't get off to a good start with the rest of the team, your entire team as a Meepo is going to fall behind. And when you are playing as a Meepo, it really is a situation where you are the one that has to carry. It's not like a normal farming carry where that person has to be the damage output. A Meepo, if played really well, ideally needs to be able to basically 1v5 because the rest of his team is going to naturally fall behind, just by the nature of the fact that the Meepo is everywhere taking everything.
All right, so let's do some quick introductions on this Game 1 matchup between Carnegie Mellon University and Rochester Institute of Technology. For the Dire Sard, RIT, Matau 32 will be playing the Tusk. We're going to have Jesse on that Meepo. We're going to have Sext playing the Razor. We're going to have Almost Below 4K on the Darkseer. And last but not least, Xenos King on Winter Wyvern.
Okay, we're going to see Psygod playing that Rubik, and he might get wrapped around on as Kim Jong-il is also hanging out. That's a great ward placement.
That's a huge ward. Beautiful.
Oh, man. They know. They're going to snowball.
Oh, the tragedy. Kim Jong-il caught in the snowball. The hook to save it. It misses. Venom with the first hook of the game. Doesn't connect, and even if it had, it still would have been a death for Kim Jong-il and a good first blood taken by RIT, who I think came to play tonight.
And this is going to be an aggressive try, it looks like, maybe. They put 2 wards down in this jungle, and there's very little reason to do that unless you're going to camp 3 heroes down here.
Right. All right, so there they go. Yeah, it looks like
I'm not sure what they're doing, to be honest. So they could let's finish running through these heroes. We got Beavis on the Earthshaker, and we've got Derek Yan sneaking around that bounty hunter. Okay, now that we got that out of the way.
Here's what I think.
Yeah.
I think that they are going your typical lineup, as we can now see, with the offlane Darkseer. And as they did the wraparound, this ward's smart, right? Because it serves 2 purposes. Obviously, it gives you the vision, but you say, even if it doesn't give us the vision, if there is no wraparound, it's a magic bush, and it's going to block both of those camps to give Darkseer a real advantage when they can't camp pull this. So,
well, it also gave them surreptitious vision for that snowball, right? They could put that down through the trees.
So, but I'm saying they put it down whether or not they're going to get that gank, and they say, okay, even if we don't get the gank, it's a good ward for an off-laning Darkseer, and I think that was a pretty good play by them. Now, Darkseer is going to get wrapped around here. He's going to put some damage out, but he's going to take some of his own as Psycho God. And Derek let him know that they're tired of him being here. They didn't like that early gank, and they're going to try to make his life a little bit difficult. Over in the mid position, Sexton Venom going head-to-head, and I know that traditionally, Pudge doesn't necessarily win his lane. How's he going to do up against Sext?
I think he should be okay as long as he's very cognizant of the damage that Static Link is dealing. And you can see he's kind of hanging out right around the outside edge of what that Static Link can reach. And that's smart. He wants to hang around that area so that he does not offer up. And there's the Static Link right now. This is exactly what he wanted to avoid. He wants to get back to his tower. He's thinking about hooking.
There's
a hook. Get the hook. It's a dangerous hook, though.
Yeah,
he would have died if Sex had just dove into that.
So if Sex didn't want to, as he already got very, very low from there, so both go their separate ways with some extremely slow health. And apologize again to the guys. I let you have the jailhouse view of that first blood, apparently, as I messed up the overlays. So for those of you who are just noticing,
Scrim day. It's all right.
Scrim day, right? Thank goodness.
All right. So Jesse's being left alone up here in the top lane, and that is going to free up some rotations coming out of the Wyvern and the Tuskar, which should be a dead Pudge. If Razor can get another batch of damage stolen, which he should be able to based out of the Snowball, he's going to come up into this lane. The Snowball will come in to get the stun. The Razor will walk in and steal some damage. Pudge needs to be very careful. Oh, the Courier is actually going to go down too. Jeez.
Yeah.
They probably could have just dove in and tried to get a kill there as well.
Playing it safe, RIT seems to sort of be...
It had a bottle.
Buying their time just a little bit. Did it really? Oh,
yeah, it had his bottle. So he didn't come out to the lane with any regen whatsoever. Fortunately, this is being scouted out by the Bounty Hunter right now. Unfortunately, the Bounty Hunter has been seen and he doesn't realize it. So this is just a bedlam of a lane. It's just absolutely everything going wrong for CMU.
Top-notch trolling going on in Twitch chat, by the way. Somebody said the overlay's still on and everybody else started spamming. No, it's fine for me. So I appreciate that, guys, for making anybody who questioned it do the refresh, because that is entertaining. Gold lead is at over 1,000 for RIT. XP is only at 100, so not out of control in terms of levels, but definitely a nice early lead here for RIT. And that Meepo at 21-5 is starting off just the way that Meepo wants to. Up here we go to the jungle where Jesse looked like he's scouting things out. Out comes Derek Ryan, starts to hit him a little bit. Jesse says, all right, don't... Oh, he does. He can bring everybody in. Divide up, we stand up and ready to go. Wait, no poof yet, right?
Well, I don't really know.
Hold on, there's the hook. I'm going to stop because Sex got caught. Venom wants to chase, but he cannot close the deal. Bounty came around to try as well, but he does not want to step into tower range, so Sex will use up that bottle charge and get himself back to health. Here comes Xenos King, interested in getting involved. Meanwhile, Darkseer picked off down on the bottom with a nice dive.
Yeah, I did not see how that happened, but it looked like it was pretty deep. And now
Rubik
is going to go down in the bottom as well.
That's that Tusk play, doing a good job. Picked up, and he threw him up and down instead of making sure he flew backwards. So a little bit of a ranging issue that did allow that kill to go through. Venom now being chased by Sext. He should go down. Sext has the link and finishes the job with the right clicks. He's low, though, and Bounty will see to it that it's a 1-for-1 in the mid position.
That's not the best trade in the world, but it's okay. Getting that Bounty Hunter a quick 6 will allow the Pudge to catch up, right, with track kills. So... it's a 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other in terms of CMU. This lane could be going much worse considering how heavily their opponents are leaning into it. Meepo's going to go down up top too.
Oh, nice dive on Jesse. Jesse goes down. That's a big kill. Beavis with a good fisher to make sure that happens. So the game 3-3 right now. Gold Dead Demon XP is actually now pretty strongly on the side of CMU for this stage of the game. We do see another fight happening as we see that Gyro got himself in some trouble. We lost a Winter Wyvern down in the mid, and now we're going to lose Razor. So Razor and Wyvern get very deep looking for a kill, and Derek Yan somehow manages to escape, and Venom comes in to clean things up. So 5-4, a little bit of crazy going on all sides of the map, but the kills are evening themselves out.
Yeah, but that really does favor CMU, having pretty even kills right now, especially high kills, because... their Pudge and their Bounty Hunter need to go out and start getting ganks. And the faster this game goes, the sooner they can get ganks relative to the Meepo's farm. If they can get in on that Meepo before he starts to get any basic items, then the Meepo's going to have a lot of trouble microing safely through the jungle, which is really crucial for farming one position Meepo. Maybe a little less crucial for a mid-position Meepo, the kind that we see Weehaw and Big Daddy play. But out of this one position, you absolutely need free reign of your jungle, so you can kind of do a braiding maneuver.
Right.
And Venom getting another kill while I'm rambling on. Wyvern trying to contest the rune, and he just got hooked and died.
That was massive. I was actually looking at some items on the top. He killed that guy so fast, but got down there a second too late. So Venom really putting in some work here on this Pudge as he now rotates towards the top lane. Meanwhile, on the bottom, here comes a big roll by the Tusk. Closing the distance on Kim Jong. Below 4K inside. They're going to go 1-for-1. And now we're going to see them decide, all right, we're going to go our separate ways. A 1-for-1 we're happy with. Gyro for a Darkseer. They'll take that trade all day.
Mingpo's doing very well, though, for last hits. He's sitting on top of 40. The Gyrocopter's only at 24. Granted, the Gyrocopter's a lot of denies, but that doesn't really matter because he's not denying against the Meepo. He's denying against the Darkseer.
Now, is the safest time for that Earthshaker and the rest of the team to start working on this Meepo now? Or do they want to wait a little while to get their levels up and get their ultimates before they try to roll in and counter this Meepo? Like, what do you do?
As soon as they can comfortably move on that Meepo, they should.
Okay.
But this is not the play. The way Venom is moving into this is almost a guaranteed death.
All right, Venom in some trouble, and there you go. Almost a guaranteed death quickly becomes a guaranteed death, and it looked for a second like he was going to try to hook Beavis to him to take him along for the ride. But
he wanted Beavis to get hooked in for a Soul Ring Echo Slam.
Gotcha.
Right, and then he was going to turn around and ultimate, I assume, the Meepo and try to make it a 1-for-1 trade.
Makes
that
sense.
would have been very risky, but the hook wouldn't reach anyway.
It would have been cool, is what
it would have been. A very cool.
There would have been insta swag. In fact, I may have submitted that play to Dota Cinema myself had it actually worked out. I'm glad you caught that because I thought he was just being a dick to Beavis.
Yeah, I'm going down. I might as well bring my offlaner with me.
That's funny.
But yeah, the sooner that they can get out here, specifically with track, right? That's key, is getting this track up and running so they can get the extra gold, and that way they can keep up with the Meepo basically around the map. If you can keep up with a Meepo in terms of net worth, he isn't nearly as scary. He starts to get scary when each one of his Meepos is as strong as any one of your heroes.
Right.
And that starts to happen as he rolls out of control.
Pudge is going to go ahead and pop a solo smoke, rotates around. He's got a bottle of illusion in his pocket. He's looking to find himself a Meepo to pick off. There's a low Jesse. Out comes the hook. He's got him. He's going to yank him. There's the ulti, but nice net to buy some space. Pops it in. In comes the Wyvern to help. Jesse is now invulnerable. Venom trying to kill him with the rod. Look at him run. Go, Meepo, go! And he does not get Jesse, but Pudge gives his life. It was a good attempt at a gank, but Xenos King in the right spot at the right time.
So two maybe misunderstandings by the Pudge on the way mechanics work. Earthbind does throw a mini stun, so it will interrupt channeling, which I think he probably did not expect to happen. I think he probably expected it to bind him to the ground without interrupting his ultimate. And the other thing is that when the Earthbind was on him, he used his Illusion Rune, presumably because he thought that that would dispel the Earthbind, but it's non-dispellable. So a Manta Style doesn't get you out of that, and Illusion Rune doesn't get you out of that, unlike a lot of similar sorts of
I
stuff.
will say the Illusion Rune almost got him to kill if it wasn't for the Wyvern's rotation. So, yep, Sex caught in some trouble, and it looks like, despite his name, he will not be getting lucky just yet. In comes rotation from Xenos King. Not there in time. He saved the Meepo last time around, but it's not going to be there in any time to help the Razor. Nice hook from Venom. Catches Xenos, blows the rod. In comes the Tusk. Ice Shard. Roll, roll, roll. And Xenos King survives. Oh, no, he does hit it with the final right click. And Pudge commits suicide. So Venom actually gets the kill and takes his own life to deny that kill to the opposing team. So that really did work out for him. Picked up and throw down. Meanwhile, on the bottom, below 4K, tries to get out from below the tower, but it's not going to happen. Zex now on the rotation. He comes in, gets up the link, and Psycon steals it. Links him right back, says, your damage is my damage. Let's have a community game here as he now backs away. 89 damage in his pocket. Razor stolen 89, but lost 73, and Psycho's going to go down to that plasma field. So a noble try by the Rubik, but not quite enough.
Yeah, this is still going.
Another hook! Venom's got him inside the trees, pops the rod, hits the ulti, down goes
This Wyvern cannot catch a break. He's always the target.
I'll tell you what, he can catch a hook.
Yeah. And the Razor is in trouble here as well, potentially.
Oh, well, no, here comes the invisible toss. They've got vision. What a play! They catch him, they saw him, he walked right into a sentry ward, and then he pings it out. And I can only imagine it was a sad ping. It was probably sounded something like this on TeamSpeak. They have a sentry ward there, guys. Amen. You know, and before he was spotted out, that actually looked like it could go decent for RIT.
Yeah.
A big roll with the stack up that they were laying into that Razor could have been devastating. Just a great Sentry Ward placement there.
Yeah, it just happened to be
up.
there because they were trying to de-ward that spot right there as well.
I want to
right?
believe
So
that CMU had pre-planned that Sentry Ward.
just for that Tuskar invisibility. Oh, the hook barely misses.
Venom feels the tickle on his tush as the hook just barely misses him.
So I really like the way that Venom is playing this with CMU. He got his basic levels, and he's completely roaming. He's applying as much pressure as he possibly can with level 8. He doesn't have that much in way of farm, but he's not staying in lane to get experience, and he's really banking everything on being able to make his ganks work.
Right.
That's a big part of a successful Pudge.
Absolutely.
It's just applying as much pressure as possible.
And they got to apply pressure because up on top, we've got Jesse at 69. What is he at? Last hit's a 79. His net worth is 4.4. He's actually behind the gyrocopter. So what they've been doing is working, setting out some blind nets just to make sure that he's safe in his farming. I like that. It looks like they do rotate to the top to maybe push it up. Sext is going to defend and farm on the bottom. Like I said, I don't know a ton about Meepo. I don't play any Meepo. I think he's the only hero in Dota that I've played one game on. And I think that I may have rage quit out of that one. So keep us
conceptually
I'm sure a lot of us are in the same boat in the sense of we understand the concept behind him, but the execution, the timings, that stuff is all foreign to a lot of us as Dota players.
He is farming this out in kind of a strange way, I will say. Does he only have 2 Meepos right now? Yeah, he only does have 2 Meepos, so never mind. He is not quite to the point where he'll become a monster. Oh, a hook!
Another big hook, pulls from the side, Jesse's gonna get hit. There's the roll, catches with the Walrus Punch. His vision is put out, Venom's left alone. He really wants to finish the Meepo. The roll's gonna come in, nicely stolen by Rubik. There's the finish, so the hook will finish the job, and they're 2 for 2. Venom runs to try and get a deny on himself. It's not gonna happen. Darkseer will finish his dominating streak, so it ends up being a 2 for 3, but a much needed kill. CMU wanted that Meepo, and they finally get their hands on him. Down the bottom, King Jong-il is actually able to put a lot of damage on this tier 2 tower. So would you say that 3 to 2, CMU still comes out ahead because of the fact that they took out that Meepo, or is it about a wash?
It depends how many of those were track kills. I'm trying to look into that right now. So give me a moment to go through the combat log for tracks. Here we go.
RIT picked up 15.
Meepo lost track debuff. It looks like before he died.
Okay.
Pudge died with a track on him, maybe? Stolen by... No. How does that work?
That wouldn't work at all.
That doesn't work. I don't know what the combat log is telling me here. But I'm going to assume that maybe one of those were tracks, which makes it about an even trade.
All right, Sext in some trouble. Here comes a nice ice shard. Goes through, puts Pudge on notice. Pudge has to back away. Meanwhile, up on top, Beavis is pushing the tower, but it looks like he may butt heads with the rest of the team, including Tusk, because he's going to snowball in. Goes ahead and gets the blink up, but not enough range to close the gap. Ice shards misses as well, and some very clever heads-up play by Beavis gets him out of a very dangerous situation.
All right, so now Jesse has 3 Meepos. He can start to do the farming pattern that is the most effective, which is 2 Meepos in one camp, 1 in another, and then braid them back and forth. Meanwhile, Venom just grabbing a cheeky, easy hook kill on the Razor behind the tower right here.
Didn't even see that. Wow. Venom's on fire. Eric Yang
doing
comes
what
out,
he
puts
needs
up
to
the
be doing.
track, going for 4K. 4K gets pulled up and dropped down. Sight God's got to back away as Xenos King shows up to the party. But here comes Venom. He says, I gotcha! Immediately goes into the Chrysalis, or the Cold Embrace, if you will. Venom now turns back around, acted like he was leaving, but decided to stay. Pops the rot, lets him finish. He goes down. Jesse with the blind net. It doesn't stun long enough. Or it does, because almost 4K was going to go down, but Jesse brought in the cavalry. Down he goes. Kim Jong-il, in the meantime, takes that tier 2 tower. So it's a 2 for 1. Venom putting in work and making a ton of space on this map.
Meepo almost has his Ags out, and that's where this starts to get really scary. A lot of the base HP that comes out of that Ags is going to make Meepo much less afraid of the pure damage coming out of those hooks, right, from the initiation, just because he'll have a higher relative HP pool. But also the fact that he has another Meepo will mean that he can do his optimal farming pattern while leaving a Meepo in base if he wants to, so that he always has a TP home.
Interesting.
So that's one of the things that you can do with this Meepo. I'm by no means a Meepo expert, but it's definitely something that you see sometimes at high-level Meepo plays, is just like an anchor Meepo, just kind of hanging out.
Kind of like the Ember Spirit Remnant sent back for safety reasons.
It's like that, except permanent, and it can come out to fight whenever it wants.
it can come out to get kills, and he just sort of run it back to base after he poofs in. So Beavis going to go ahead and push forward with the Fisher. He's got some Venom on his side, so Venom's just waiting for this Ranger to step out of position. He hopes it'll happen. We see a rotation now. Matao's got to be careful. They decide they're going to make an engagement. Psycho went the wrong way. He's going to get caught by everyone. Steals the Ice Shard to make a nice little crazy 8 of death. As Wisp has to be careful and back away. Derek's going to go up, put up the track, and blinks off to safety. Venom's still in here. He's got to be careful as they look to rotate out. And in the mid position, Kim Jong-il just doing his farm and push. He hasn't come to the fights. I feel like he hasn't really taken advantage of that pre-16-minute window that we know Gyrocopter tends to be so strong in. Is that just because the farm is so good? Like, why bother?
Yeah, well, the thing is, he's normally used in that pre-60-minute window against his laning opponent, and he didn't really have one.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, he's got a massive stack that he's put together for himself based on, or out of his early Helm of the Dominator. He has an item flying out to him, and Pudge is attacking something.
Winter Wyvern goes ahead and gets another kill, and then he gets caught by Jesse. So Jesse says, I'm tired of you hurting our people, but he denies himself. So not only is he getting kills, but I think he's frustrating the crap out of RIT, is that he seems to be getting a large portion of those deaths chalked up to suicide. Darkseer going to be aggressively scouting his opponent's side. Now he's going to move in, wants that Rubik. Psycho in some trouble, vacuums him back to get caught by the net. Should be an easy kill. Boom, down he goes. Rubik comes in to help out, picks up 4K. 4K drops back and shows off his brand new mech. And now they move on Derek Yan. Derek Yan getting low, the poof on the way. This is going to be some damage. Boom, goes the dynamite. Down goes Derek. In comes the wall. Kim Jong wants to fight, but he's inside of the Meepo military. Meepo turns around and says, we're going for the next one, but it's an Echo Slam. Surprise, Meepo. That's not your normal TP. That is an Earthshaker.
That was a very nice heads-up play by Beavis. I don't think he gets away here. Maybe he does, actually. There's no reinforcements coming for the Wyvern.
Nope, so Beavis will manage to get away. Good heads-up play. He goes 4 for 2, and Beavis ends up getting a kill on the Meepo. That'll be a good amount of gold for him. Sex now on the chase. Wants to go after Venom. The roll is there, as come the shards, but it looks like Sex is going to back away, so our boy Matao's not going to join him either as they just back off. It looks like Venom's not done, though. He throws the hook. Catches nothing.
All right, and it's really hard to say who is coming out ahead right now, other than the fact that this Meepo is starting to get out of control. And that's really what you don't want at 18 minutes. This is a hero that can get a very good early start, but ideally you don't want him to be rolling until at least 20-25 minutes. If you can hold him down, obviously that's better for a hero that flash farms as quickly as Meepo.
Gold lead, by the way, about 3,000 for CMU. XP is at 2,000 on their side. We should see those start to drop off a little bit as Meepo becomes more and more online. Like you said, he does have that Ag Scepter finished up now, so we should see him aggressively starting to sort of change things up. We see a little bit of harassment. Derek Yan pretty much just making it his job to try to cause trouble for Jesse, but Jesse is 3 Meepos deep, farming incredibly aggressively.
So one thing that I do want to point out about the way that this has worked out, Meepo, a lot of people say, oh, Gyrocopter's a natural counter to Meepo because he splashes out so much damage, and Meepo is so many heroes, right? The call down hits all the Meepos, the flat cannon hits all the Meepos, but really, it doesn't work that way because you don't have to kill all the Meepos, you just have to kill one of them. So really good Meepo counters are heroes that are able to hold a Meepo still and kill that one of them, ideally, in a way that does not require channeling so that you don't have it interrupted by the Earthbind, right? Somebody who's able to survive an initial shock of attack of poofs. Gyrocopter doesn't really have that. So despite the fact that in just sort of common pub knowledge, you would think, oh yeah, Gyrocopter, probably a good counter into Meepo. In Pro Dota, we don't usually see that. Like, we've only seen them play against each other a handful of times in Dota history, and they've gone even. They don't necessarily play into each other too much one way or the other. So
right,
just a little bit of counterintuitive fact there. The Gyrocopter not super great into the Meepo.
Right. As we saw on that tower when he TP'd in and was just eradicated without having a chance to really do anything. Popped everything he had. It just wasn't enough damage output to outpace what Meepo can do. That said, we also saw the value of the Echo Slam in the right context. So a lot was taught in that one engagement.
So Earthshaker is, on average, a bit more negative against Meepo than he is just in general. He doesn't win more often against Meepo than he normally does. And that does come down partially to the same idea that Earthshaker is a hero who splashes a lot of damage around, and against Meepo, you want to be able to kill the one Meepo and hold that one Meepo in place long enough to kill it so it can't poof away. And we talked during the draft about how Meepo has higher base magic resistance, and that feeds into it as well.
Nice Meepo wants to make his move. Out comes Net to stun. Can they get him in time? Jesse drops low, goes for the poof, picked up, thrown down. They'll finish him. So that is how it works out. Rubik comes in to make that happen. They got to be careful here. Tusk wants to roll. He's going to go in on Derek Yan, but the entire team is surrounding him. They should be able to finish the job, and Rubik with a really great snowball steal will put Tusk in dire straits. There's the blink by Derek, and he finishes the job. CMU will rotate away off of a really important and strong two-man pick.
Yeah, that was absolutely exactly how you want to take care of the Meepo, right? You'll notice that they didn't turn on the more easily accessible Meepos once they started running in. When one was about to poof away, they still tried to focus that one specific Meepo down, hold them in place as long as possible. That's really what you have to do. And Meepo is a hero that just ultimately kites people because they kind of get shiny object syndrome a lot of times and get distracted by the other potential Meepo targets. Especially at like this level of play. Not necessarily at the pro level of play, but when you're talking about varied skill levels between 3 and 5K typically, this is the level of play where communication and coordination tends to suffer.
And Venom set up, look for a gank, sat right there, but unfortunately that had tower vision, so the tower turns on him, and he has to back away as his space is revealed. I like this push ward. Very low likelihood of being rewarded there. And going to allow Pudge a lot of work if he's trying to get some ganks from the high ground. Meanwhile, we do see a tower go down as Dire continues their push.
Pudge does have a blink dagger, by the way, just for the record. I don't think we've seen too many.
The blink, there's the hook, there's the grab. In comes below 4K, gets some good vacuum, and it could be in some trouble to turn around. There's the walrus punch, engaged on and burnt down. So blink revealed, blink used, blink negated.
Bounty Hunter also went for Blink Dagger, which I'm not...
He's been using that for... It's actually worked out pretty well. It's allowed him, I think, at least 2 kills that almost got away, so he's justified it. I was surprised when I saw it, because it's not something I generally expect on a Bounty Hunter.
Yeah, it's great for being able to make sure that you can get those tracks and get away, as he just demonstrated.
Right.
It's also great to make sure that you can get within range for a Shuriken after Shadow Walk, right? So your Shadow Walk's kind of far away in case there are wards. Your teammates kind of whittle down your opponents, and you blink in with the track and Shuriken, and bam, you secured the kill. The issue with it is that it does not help his team tremendously. It just helps him kind of secure kills on his own or after the fact. A lot of those kills will probably be securable anyway. And now he's going into a mechanism, so he is going into more of a team fight oriented build as well. We'll see how that works out for him. I'm kind of mixed minds on that.
So right now, Sext sitting on nothing but a Ring of Aquila and Power Treads, but he does have, there it goes, he just spent it. So he's got the money now for the Sanj, and we'll have that brought out to him. Let's take that item look while we're on the topic. Gyrocopter has finished up Sanj Yasha and Helm of the Dominator. Other big items, Blinks, as we said, on the Earthshaker, the Bounty Hunter, and the Pudge. A lot of mobility on that team right now. Actually, jump down to bottom lane where we're seeing some action. Out comes Venom, wants to get the hook, misses it. Jesse turns around and poof, poof, baby, down goes the Pudge.
Yeah, this is starting to get really, really dangerous with this Meepo running amok. Near the top of the net worth, the opponent that is above him is the Gyrocopter, who does not have a BKB, so he is still very vulnerable to just the general damage output that's coming out. I mean, you still got Darkseer coming in through here, you've got Poof, all sorts of damage output that the Gyrocopter can't avoid right now.
Such a funny word to say. Psych God's gonna pick up 4K, tries to throw him to the high ground, but he's stunned! Dropped back by the Visor, and he's got to run for safety. Psych God's been, he hasn't really been moving anybody with his telekinesis so much.
No, he just picks him up.
Fall.
He's like, he's got surge, so he's gonna get away from that Razor. Yeah, he's doing the little baby bounce on the knee movement.
Right.
He's like, oh, more quiet down, youngin.
All right, Derek Yan's going to go scouting. There's a lot of sentry wards put up by the Dire in the jungle, so he's got to be careful here. He does have a sentry ward of his own for some space. In comes the Pudge, tried to go again, and got caught because right now they're doing a great job of never leaving Jesse alone. And it's really panning out for them, the fact that they are making sure that at all times he's got somebody at least in striking distance that can get there by the time that Pudge is ready to kill him. And it's been executed very well.
I think Pudge thought, I'll be okay because none of them have blink daggers, and I'm in the woods. They can't get to where I am. not realizing that the Tusk was there as well, because Tusk
Right.
wasn't tracked. And remember, track no longer gives vision of an
Right.
area. It only gives vision of an outline, a silhouette of the hero.
Also worth noting that Bounty Hunter had just scouted the entire top of the jungle, so he thought safety was there. Sex caught in the telekinesis, picked up, thrown down, but whoa! A nice play by Xenos King. Gets a massive ultimate, but 4K is going to take a ton of damage. Beavis is here to fight. Gets a good stun up on Xenos King. He's going to get hit by the urn, though, so he's got to be careful. Xenos King and Derek Yang going to go head-to-head as the rest of the team is rotated away just a little bit. Been a 3-for-1, and it's going to be a 3-for-4 because Xenos King doesn't have a lot of hope of getting out of this one alive. And they finish him off with the Enchanted Totem. Beavis gets the kill, and it goes 4 to the way of CMU. So if we talked about CMU needing a little bit of a shot to the arm, that's going to be it, as Earthshaker now overtakes Meepo in farm for the first time in this game. Overall gold at 7,500, XP at 5,000, as CMU is far from dead.
So that Earthshaker ultimate was massive, partially because his entire team had given Darkseer illusions, and each one of those illusions gets hit as a separate unit. So that was not only the creeps that were in the area, not only the heroes that were in the area, including several Meepos, I think, but also, what, 3 or 4 illusions, hero illusions from the Darkseer wall?
Yeah.
That was just a tremendous amount of damage.
Yeah, it felt bad. I mean, it actually was interesting because what happened was we saw RIT land a really good Darkseer combo with the ultimate, right, from the Winter Wyvern. He landed a great Winter's Curse. They got everybody lumped together just like we talked about the combo. And the problem was, like you said, it just created so many illusions that Echo Slam was nightmarish. Now we see a hook from Venom, but he blinks away as he hooks, and Sex says, I kind of want to close this gap. Can we? There's the roll. They see Psycho God instead. They close fists on him. Big Fisher to buy some time. Will it be enough? The hook will not land, and Psycho will be sacrificed. Sex now taking a little bit of damage. Got it back to the high ground. Ultimate is running, though, so Derek has to be careful. Can't really go in on this. We're going to send a nice ice shard out. Derek does back away. And another blink by the Pudge for safety reasons.
Just on the Bounty Hunter up here.
Oh, Bounty could be in some trouble. 4K finds him. There's the roll. He's invisible, but it's not going to matter as he gets caught, rocked, and stopped. Now we do see a rotation by... Nice play by Venom. Blinks to the Sex to the high ground and gets himself a kill. I think that was a blind hook that really paid off, but the rest of the team has shown up. Kim Jong-il is inside. Echo Slam comes through. Xenos King is dropped down. Jesse is low. Can they finish the job? Good roll by the Tusk, and is it going to finish? It does. It saves Jesse's life, costs everyone on CMU theirs, and redeems what I thought was going to be a really great turnaround off of that great blind hook by Venom.
That, honestly, you might have even heard me go, when that hook landed. It was a nice execution on a hook. It was a terrible time to hook, though. Like, they knew without a shadow of a doubt that there were at least 3 heroes nearby, and they were down at least 2 heroes. So best case scenario off that hook, you're initiating into a 3-on-3. Worst case scenario, you're initiating onto a 5-on-3 with a Meepo taking hook advantage.
Yeah,
or taking non-hook advantage.
I think that they did know that. I believe ultimates were down at that point from most of the heroes. So I think they figured
the wall
they could
was
try to
still
take
up,
it.
and so was the curse. So
yeah.
So the two big
Fair enough.
ultis were still up. Yeah, it was ambitious, is what I'll say.
Ambitious.
It was ambitious.
Derek Yan right back to scouting the opponent's jungle, trying to keep an eye on things. Has to blink away because he thought Mattel saw him, though I think he was just utilizing that for some farm. Pops the dust, but it's okay. Yeah. Derek has made his way out. That blink dagger really paying off for spades in him. Venom playing very aggressive, goes into the opponent's jungle, but everybody's there again, and poof, down goes Venom.
He's starting to fall into trouble where he has not got enough flesh heap stacks to take on this Meepo anymore. And
I'll say 11.
Yeah, he needed either more kills early, or he needed the Meepo to get fewer kills early. Meepo almost has as many kills as Pudge, right? And with fewer deaths. A lot fewer deaths. So we're running into quite a bit of trouble here where the Pudge didn't quite open up as much space as he was expecting to. Despite some really good plays, he's been overly aggressive.
Yeah. Look at this. Look how stacked up they are, just keeping an eye on Jesse as he farms, trying to get a little bit of the farm for themselves, but Jesse way ahead in terms of level to everybody else, and his XP starting to gap out as well. So now we see a smoke. Everyone's going to go ahead and get their hands on it. There is a ping on Sext by Orange, so Derek's putting up the track, so they will see him. It looks like they want to rotate down to their opponent's jungle, so we're going to see RIT split up on the smoke rotation. Xenos King by himself realizes it and turns around. Well, in the mid position, they're going to send Sex forward, using him as a little bit of bait, presumably. Uh-oh, here they go. Big roll. They're going to run right into Derek Yan, who missed his blink, couldn't get to the high ground. There's the call down, comes out, puts some serious damage. Jesse getting it out as well. Kim Jong pops that BKB to run, but the right clicks are there. He could be in some trouble. He's dropping low. He is going to go down. So they took out the Razor, but at the cost of a gyrocopter and a bounty hunter. And the rest of CMU is forced to back as the Shard comes in for a little bit of zoning. And RIT now very aggressive as Meepo's going to head out to push the top tower at the same time that presumably the rest of his team pushes down this mid position.
Yeah, so
Gem
once
on,
again,
gem on the Tusk, by the way.
We're getting into a situation where the gyrocopter is
Whoa!
pretty well farmed. Ooh.
Nope, blinked away. Just a harassment hook, sorry.
Where the gyrocopter is pretty well farmed, but he just doesn't handle this Meepo very effectively, in all things said and done. He needs a lot more help or a lot more farm, and the Meepo's been just getting out of control. And take a look as well at the levels. We're looking at Meepo level 23, and this is what I was talking about in the draft and just after, where the Meepo sucks everything off the map. Razor, your mid, is only level 14. Your supports are level 11 and 12, and your offlane is level 13, because Meepo has taken all the experience off the map. He has been sucking up 5 times as much experience as his allies, because he has 5 times as many units to actually gather that experience.
Right.
And that means that without the Meepo in play, if that Meepo is either killed or not available for a fight, CMU should be able to win 9 times out of 10. Even if they're only 4-on-4, because they're over-leveled compared to their opponents. That Meepo, it's entirely on his shoulders. So if CMU are able to really focus him down and punish him, then RIT is done. It really comes down to how well does this Meepo play from this point forward.
Now, is there traditionally a way, once Meepo hits 25, to sort of negate that and put him in a position where his team can go back to receiving experience? Actually, we'll hold off on that as they move on Tusk. He's exposed. In comes the Blank, gets Sex. They make a change. They get 2. Actually, really nice play. In comes the call down. Snowball is going to dodge the first one. Not the second one, though, as he gets hit just on the outside. Pops the BKP by Kim Jong. He'll finish off Tusk. And now turns back around on Sex. In comes almost below 4K. It seems like Beavis is saying, get the hell out. Kim Jong going to lose the BKB just in time for the vacuum. He's dropping very, very low, but it looks like he might get away. Sex, nope, does manage to finish him. Nice job. Good Fisher by Earthshaker, but a second too late as it goes 2 for 2, and the team split up across the map.
They do get the gem out of that. That's why the gyrocopter stayed in danger for so long. In order to grab that gem, he had to drop a TP for it. I think that's well worth it to get that gem out of their hands.
And to go for a 2 for 2.
Yeah, and
Venom,
you'll note,
make it 3.
Yeah,
Order up.
There you go. You'll note that Meepo wasn't available for that fight. He had to walk the only available Meepo all the way around from here, and by the time he did, he wasn't in range to initiate there.
Yeah.
That hurt them. I mean, obviously, CMU won that fight. They got a gem. They got a 3 for 2 trade, including some tracks. Like, that's great. If they can continue to either catch the Meepo out or just avoid the Meepo entirely, they'll end up winning.
Meepo does have a
Basically,
Scotty now, by
as
the
he's
way.
at.
So, Scotty up on the Meepo, Greaves on Derek Yang, Glimmer Cape on the Winter Wyvern. What else are we looking at? Greaves, Darkseer, we saw that used a little bit earlier. It's actually been proving very, very helpful. That's pretty much it. Now, does CMU, like you said, RIT is going to take a lot of the XP off of this map. That said, it does feel like their overall late game, even in the context of the Razor, with the fact that Tusk continues to be pretty strong into that mid to late game, and Darkseer has ability to split push whenever he wants to alongside a Meepo. Does CMU have an answer for RIT post 42 minutes?
Honestly, I don't think they have an answer if RIT just kind of group up and do their thing and that Meepo's always available. But I don't think they have an answer now. Like, screw 42 minutes. Like, 10 minutes ago, they started to lose their answer.
If they go old school CIS deathball, there's nothing they can do.
Right. Like I had said before, it really does come down to whether or not this Meepo is playing available.
Derek Yang got hooked to safety, but was killed en route to his buddy Venom. So nice pick off by RIT. Looks like they may capitalize on this and take your advice as they push forward. Jesse is in the Roche pit, so he'll go ahead and get himself a nice little Aegis and presumably join the rest of his team as they start to push down towers.
This is really big. This Aegis will allow this Meepo to be absolutely out of control. If he does die, he can make sure that he's keeping his primary Meepo away from his actual secondary Meepos. So he never has to be at risk of dying ever. Like, he could literally keep his primary Meepo in the fountain if he wanted to, and then he would respawn in the fountain. right?
Right.
He never actually has to be at risk. Granted, if he wants to blink in and do the blink combo, which is blink, net, poof, 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 right? If he wants to do that, then he has to have his primary meepo available. But I don't even think he needs that combo right now in order to steamroll through these towers. He just needs the sheer brute force that comes with these meepos.
All right, looks like he's going to go out, throws the net, catches 2, sends 1 meepo back to base, presumably for that safety net. And the guys from CMU will start to take a defensive posture here. Lots of wards down for the Dire to keep vision on this area and watch for rotations. As Derek Yan immediately goes out, tries to scout where they are. They said, all right, guys, this is it. They're in our bottom lane. They're going to push that tower. Now's our chance to try and make this happen. The guys from RIT, though, will see the rotation start as they saw the D ward happen, and smoke is immediately popped. So let's see what happens here. Haystroom grabbed by almost below 4K. That'll get him away to safety, and all of them they may lose is a courier here. They're going to find it, and they go after it, and the courier still somehow manages to survive. So
Nice
he's going to go and hide in
loop.
the trees.
They're still looking for it, though, so they might still get it. Blink up in 5 seconds.
Looks like he gets away. Winter Wyvern going to come out to try and help him. Fissure is there, but the courier will escape with the item. That's going to be a scythe up on the meepo now.
Yeah, that's... Now, if he is going to go ahead and buy a scythe, and he obviously did, and he has it, then he probably wants that primary meepo round, right? At that point in time, there's no point. It gives you a bit more health, but for the most part, you're getting that for its ability to disable.
Well, big hook on the Dark Series and get caught in the trees. They go ahead and blow that ultimate, but Sex comes in, pops the BKB, turns around, gets the link up on Venom, but he's stuck inside of the trees. His ultimate wasn't, however, as he puts up a little bit of damage. Venom now on the run, being chased by 4K. 4K really wants to get this kill. Jesse comes in and blinks to make it happen. Wants to follow with the chase, doesn't have a net for 5 seconds, and now Beavis comes in, gets involved, puts up a good Fissure, catches 2, but he's caught inside the Ice Shard Fissure combo, has nowhere to go. Out comes the net. This will be... Oh! Almost the death. Good pull as Jesse's caught in the bad room, but all that does is allow him to go poof on the Pudge, so the rescue ends up being a massacre. They do lose the Darks here, but now Derek Yan can be in some trouble. Out comes the net. Poof is summoned. Not going to hit, though, or it does hit. Catches Kim Jong-il, as I realize he going after him instead. Here comes the roll, Derek Yan, and it is a 5-man wipe as RIT and Jesse get out of control. Maybe Jesse decided to take this opportunity to show future opponents on a publicized scrim that they've got to start wasting bans on a meepo.
Yeah, I do think that he's playing this meepo very well, and he's really great with the blink initiation in terms of microing perfectly through these fights for that blink. That said, he got just out of control based on some questionable movements by the bounty hunter and the Pudge that were largely very close to perfectly executed, but close is not enough to keep you from dying, right? They just engaged into too many people too many times and gave this meepo way too much room. If you give a meepo this much health and this much resistance with a Darkseer nearby who is sitting on top of a Guardian Greaves, like, he doesn't need to be good at all. This particular meepo is, but he could literally just be attack moving through the base, and I don't know that there's a lot CMU could do about it.
So they get the racks, they get the tower, they pick up a second tower, and then playing it very careful, RIT fades away ever so beautifully. Now, I was told at the beginning of this game that CMU and RIT do tend to scrim a fair amount, and that the current record, I think, is 5 for CMU and 3 for RIT, so it looks like RIT coming into this one to try and even that up just a little bit. CMU,
well, they're just about there, right? I mean, one more win after this.
We can both agree, Carnegie Mellon, their draft was, what was the word I'm looking for? Not textbook. Yeah, a little bit outside the box. A lot of fun to see in a scrim. Has not worked out. So I'll be curious to see how they handle the next game if they choose to go a little more traditional with their scrimming. Big roll by the Tusk. Comes in. Rupert's going to pick him up and throw him down. He's taking a lot of damage, but here comes Sex doing a lot of push right into the base. Meanwhile, Pudge going head-to-head with everyone else. Sex decides he's going to turn back around and go after this Rax. Pudge has hook up in 3 seconds with love nothing more than to get some Sex, and now Sex has to back away. Pops his BKB, so he's going to stick around and try to finish the Rax. Earthshaker watching from the outside, hoping to get a chance to get that Echo Slam combo in. Blink and Force Staff both ready for the engagement if they are allowed to have it, but RIT is not going to give it up that easily. They're going to make it work for it.
All right, so if they can't engage now, then they probably can never engage, but they don't have the gyro card. So
Oh,
that's
big
a
hook
nice
into the
hook.
tree. Sex gets caught. Nobody can get to him. Nice vacuum to kill the trees out. Venom's got to run. Good roll as well. Jesse inside is going to catch Beavis. Boom. Venom down. That's 2. That's 3. And that'll be the racks and probably the game, as it started out with a strong hook, but good wherewithal from Darkseer to remember and be able to get that vacuum off very, very quickly, destroy those trees, and allow his team to get in there and make the rescue.
Yeah, honestly, this PUBG just had too many things working against him, I think, this game. They had every single hero except Razor had a way to interrupt his ultimate, right? Multiple heroes had ways to fly over impassable terrain or just destroy it entirely. That makes it very difficult for a Blink Dagger PUBG.
So, Ancient's going to go down. That'll be the end of the game as RIT takes a very strong early win on the back of that Meepo. And honestly, I think the first pick Pudge and their ability to pretty much take heroes that counter his ultimate was a great pickup for them throughout this match. So that'll be the first game, guys. We're going to game 2. Stick around to join myself and Gorgon the Wonder Cow. You can find me at Toffees TV. You can find him at the Wonder Cow over on Twitter. Make sure you also follow at C Star League if you want to know the best in college sports. Keep in mind, Star League does more than just Dota. We do League, StarCraft, Hearthstone, and oh, so much more. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. We'll play some music for you as we get the next match up in this best of 3 on the Tuesday night fights for the CSL. Stick around. Toffees out.
starting to lose my mind because this precarious situation that we find ourselves in means that it's only a matter of time before a storm of wonder starts to fill my mind. And for the first time in a long time, you're the first one to make me feel like I want you more and more than I know. I cannot take my eyes off of you. If you're a storm, I'll dance in the rain and hold on, I'll hold on, I'll hold on by my fingertips. Maybe I've already lost my mind. Maybe we've come so far so fast and now there's no way we could ever go back. And now it's only a matter of time before a storm of wonder starts to fill my mind. And for the first time in a long time, you're the first one to make me feel like I want you more than I do. I cannot take my eyes off of you. If you're a storm, I'll dance in the rain. You took me in, swept me away. I'm tossed and turned, thrown by the wind. This is an orchestration of beautiful moments that I don't want to end. Hold on, hold on, hold on by my fingertips. I want you more than I do. I cannot take my eyes off of you. If you're a storm, I'll dance in the rain and hold on, I'll hold on, I'll hold on by my fingertips. You more than I do. I cannot take my eyes off of you. If you're a storm, I'll dance in the rain. You took me in, swept me away. I'm tossed and turned, thrown by the wind. This is an orchestration of beautiful moments.
Good evening and welcome back to the CSL Tuesday Night Fight matchup between CMU and it is, hold on a second, Rochester Institute of Technology as these two teams go up for game 2. RIT took the first one, CMU looking for a bit of vengeance. My name's Toffees. You can find me at Toffees TV. I'm joined by Gorgon the Wonder Cow. You can find him at the Wonder Cow, and we should be in for some fun on this one. Now, before we start assessing the drafts, we're still in the banning phase, Gorgon. I do want to tell a little bit of an anecdotal story that just occurred in my life that I think you might appreciate.
So tell me more about this thing that happened in your life, Toffee.
Well, I took a bio break between the games, you know, to get myself comfortable and ready for the next match. And I should preface this with, I have been searching for my Xbox One controller for about 3 days. Unable to play any video games because of it. And as I went to the bathroom, I stumbled over one of my son, he's 14 months old.
Where you stumbled over your 14-year-old son?
One of his toys.
Oh, there you go. That's
apparently,
a key noun for that phrase.
Apparently, this toy has an opening latch thing on it, and when I stumbled over it, it fell to the side and popped open. And inside of it was my Xbox controller. So I'll be able to play some video games this evening as we wrap up Dota 2. I'm excited about that. I'm also curious if my son's trying to tell me that maybe I play too much Xbox. as he,
14-month-olds are, as I've always said, basically gnomes. So just take that as it will.
or squirrels.
Probably just taking stuff and hiding it because that's what gnomes and 14-month-olds just do.
Stashing electronics for the winter. That said, though, it was a lot of fun. Just like the last game was, we saw some fun Pudge play by Venom, as well as a unstoppable force that was the Meepo. This time around, it looks like the guys from CMU going a little more traditional as they open up with the Winter Wyvern, and again, give a Ricky first ban, which can only be some form of respect for RIT. They must have one hell of a Ricky player over there.
Ricky is really, really successful in most levels of play, in just terms of pubs. He actually gets more successful the higher you get, much to my surprise, until you hit that 5K level.
Mm-hmm.
So between 2K and right up to the 5K level, Ricky gets more and more and more and more and more successful, and then he just drops down to about 52% once you get up to that 5K plus. Most of these players are in a bracket where Ricky is super successful, though. So it's not that unreasonable to me that if there is a decent Ricky player on the other team and you do come from a sub 5K bracket, that would be chief on your mind. They're going to go with the Pudge again. Why the hell not?
Not first pick this time. They didn't allow that first pick to counter them, but we're going to see him come out again. So it looks like Venom wants to show that they play Pudge well. And that, after that last game, I wouldn't argue that Venom doesn't have a good Pudge. He played it very, exceedingly well. The problem was that there was nothing that could stop Meepo. So this time around,
I would argue that his mechanical skill with Pudge is very good. His decision making with Pudge could use some work. That's what I would argue. Like, he's obviously a great practiced Pudge player, but he was going in way too aggressively with way too little vision, far too often, and he ended up just giving up too many kills.
I blame the Bounty Hunter.
The Bounty Hunter, I don't think that's a good pick alongside the Pudge because it puts so many of your eggs into the gank basket. It really does.
I also think it gave Pudge this sense of confidence that he could go for things that he shouldn't have because Bounty Hunter was around or there was a track on someone. Because a lot of the times that I saw Venom get himself in some trouble, I felt strongly that it was because he maybe had track vision on a target and it looked like it'd be safe to go, but there was someone lurking just outside of that range. So kind of that like double damage rune sense of confidence that gets you in trouble. I saw a little bit of that in last game. So we'll see how it goes this time. Nope, no bounty available. RIT actually bans it out, so they did not enjoy dealing with that bounty last time around. Ancient Apparition get picked up here. Should be interesting. I like Ancient Apparition against Pudge because it's a hero that sort of forces Pudge at some point to reconsider his usage of Rot.
Yeah, Ancient Apparition is a good counter to Winter Wyvern as well. I mean, if you have Ice Blast on you and your Winter Wyvern ally casts Cold Embrace, all he is doing is saying hold still while our opponents get ready to kill you, right? That Cold Embrace is completely countered out by Ice Blast. As you mentioned, the Rot becomes very difficult to justify underneath the Ice Blast as well. So far, I see no reason why AA won't work here, other than the fact that he's super squishy. He tends to be kind of alone because he's trying to get levels, and Pudge loves to feed off heroes like
How
that.
does Ancient Apparition interact with the Winter Wyvern Ice, the Cold Embrace? Does it have to hit before Cold Embrace is activated to stop the health, or can it hit while you're inside of Cold Embrace?
It can hit at any point in time. Cold Embrace doesn't stop you from being targeted by spells or hit by spells.
Gotcha.
It does pierce spell immunity itself, but bear in mind that AA's Ice Blast doesn't even need to land on you. It just needs to go over you to hit you with the buff. The landing on you is just for the damage that comes with it, the initial burst damage of 250, 350, 450. So for Wyvern, yeah, it's dangerous at any point in time to cast that Cold Embrace if AA might have his ult up.
Spirit Breaker going to get picked up by CMU, a hero that I love to play and I love to watch. Does cause me large amounts of stress as far as a cameraman goes, but definitely a hero that's always entertaining. And opposite that, another hero who's entertaining for his mobility and engagement potential, Tusk. So Spirit Breaker and Tusk opposite of each other, both of them very, very good at sort of leading into these fights. Tusk, obviously, if I had to pick between the two, I'd rather have on my side, but do you think that right now Radiant's a little too light in the big damage, or do you think that they're okay for them?
They're going to pick it up with their mid and with their carry. I think CMU are thinking over a Darkseer right now, and I think that would be a very good pick here. That's my assumption. Not only does the Darkseer pair very well with the Spirit Breaker in order to allow somebody to catch up, they're going to grab a Silencer instead.
Intriguing.
It's an interesting call. So they are going for Stacks strategy, maybe a Legion commander to come out here as well. Because they have Intelligence Steal, they have Strength gain, and then all they would need is dual damage on top. Right?
Interesting.
That seems to be the cheese that is being sprayed out over our game this time around.
Now,
if they do decide to go with something other than Legion Commander, I do still think that the Darkseer would be a very good pairing for CMU.
Wraith King. Now, am I missing something? Has he become popular somewhere where I don't remember seeing it? Because last I checked, Wraith King was one of those heroes that nobody cared to play outside of a brief period of support popularity like 2 patches ago.
He's getting played sometimes. He's not like a never played hero. He's been played a fair amount over the last 7 to 10 days. He's been played in maybe, I don't know, 10% of games, something like that.
Okay.
He's got.
But he's not in the pro meta.
Yeah, no, in the pro meta.
Intriguing.
Yeah. In the pro meta, he's. I'll look up the exact number. I want to say he's at about 50 games.
Okay.
Something like that. It is 46 games so far out of, and the max is Tusk with 519. So
are you able to pull up his win rate on those 46 games?
Yeah. So for his win rate, he's sitting at a 43.5, which is not the worst.
That's not bad. That's not bad. I mean, obviously.
It's bad, but it's not.
Right. You'd prefer to be over 50, obviously.
Yeah, or at least within a reasonable margin of error of 50.
Right.
But that puts him right around the same win rate as Darkseer, right around the same win rate as Silencer. In fact, he's about as much played and as winning-ish as a Silencer is right now.
Different ballpark, though, because the Silencer is going to sit in a support role, whereas the Wraith King is going to be in that hard carry position.
Or Dragon Knight, if that is a better fit for you. They're also in the same ballpark, 59 times played.
So
5%.
We said that they were going to pick up damage output, that they definitely needed that, and we're going to think that they get them with their hard carry here. Yeah. Obviously, they still have their mid position to get picked up to sort of do that, but Wraith King doesn't seem like a hero who... He does bring damage later on, right? And he brings a great tankiness. I kind of expect to maybe see a Radiance potentially with the fact they have the Clockwork Tusk here. That said, it takes a while to get Wraith King to the point where he is truly a damage-based threat. Do you think that CMU, and because they have a lot of early game, they've got the Pudge gank, they've got the Spirit Breaker initiation, presumably they're going to pick up somebody here who's got a lot more of that aggressive style of play that fits CMU. Do you think that they have enough, or what do you think, I guess I'm asking you, does RIT do to bolster that mid-game damage?
I think Wraith King goes for the stat stun into Blink Dagger Blade Mail build. I think that's what he does here. And then he and Clockwork and Tusk do super heavy initiation, ideally into the Pudge, and just kill him all the time. They're going to grab a Lycan, which is really weird to me. Anyway, I don't see I don't see what's coming out. And then the Alchemist is going to come out as well. This is a good team to have an Alchemist for. You have 4 heroes that can utilize the Ghanums. The Alchemist is going to be able to get the Radiance that you had mentioned the Wraith King might want to get, so that Wraith King doesn't have to. And that's a ton of damage in the mid game. The Tusk, remember, Tusk does output a pretty significant amount of damage himself. With just his ultimate. Right?
Well, and I think that one of the keys to me too, especially, is when we talk about that Wraith King and his lack of damage, sort of in that early mid game. A lot of it comes down to is basically right click. So I think that the Alchemist being there to do the armor reduction is going to actually add a ton of extra damage to those Wraith King crits. So I like that pickup an awful lot. That said, let's do some quick introductions for these two teams. On the Dire side, for Carnegie Mellon University, we've got Beavis playing that Spirit Breaker. We're going to have Venom playing the Pudge for round 2. It was a lot of fun the first time. Let's see how it goes the second. We're going to have Kim Jong-il playing the Lycan. We're going to have Derek Yan playing the Support Silencer. And last but not least, Psycho God on the Winter Wyvern.
All right, and here for the Radiant side, we do have Mattel making snowmen on the Tusk. It's going to be Sext. He's farming out on the Alchemist. Jesse is Immortal on the Wraith King. We've got almost below 4K. Clockwork. And Xenos King is chilling out on the Ancient Apparition.
I also laughed about sex when I said it the first time. I feel How old are we, Gorgon?
You know, I think it's not. It's just the tonality that it happened to slip out of my throat with. I seem very enthusiastic about it. Oh, they're just
here
gonna
comes
go.
the snowball, just like last time. In they go on Venom. Venom get caught. 3 inside. Want to make the play, but Kim Jong, Psycho, and Derek all inside. Big Cog bounce back. Venom on the run. He's going to be the first blood. Here comes the charge. From the bottom, wants to go for Xenos King. They get the finish on the Wraith. They want to follow on the ice. Iceman runneth as Ancient Apparition tries to get himself out of some trouble. He's being chased on all sides. Lycan wants to close the gap. Comes through, gets the right click. We got a charge available and a tango on Beavis, so he will go ahead and utilize that. Big roll, though, comes out from Matau. Will it be enough? As it actually stopped Beavis mid-charge. So basically what happened was Beavis was prepping to charge, used the mana from the Mango, but got stunned by the roll coming out of the Tusk, and that saved the life of the Ancient Apparition, leaving it at a 1-for-1. So quite the combo. Really frustrating situation for Spirit Breaker as he did burn that Mango for naught.
That was an interesting set of plays from both teams. I will say that if King Jong-il had gone for Howl instead of the Wolves, they would have gotten at least one additional kill, because that's just greater damage output if you've got 5 heroes auto-attacking.
I did the overlay again. Sorry, guys. Apparently, I'm just out of it.
I'm just going to start saying it at the beginning of the game. Like,
please do. You know,
as we're going in,
the problem back when we started.
Is going to forget the overlay.
When you and I started casting together, like a year and a half ago, I did it all
way
the time.
More than that. Like this was, yeah. No, by a year and a half ago, you had been out of that habit, and now you're back into it.
Well, it's because I hadn't cast in so long. I took time off for hosting and having a baby.
Yeah.
A baby who steals Xbox remotes. What am I teaching this kid? Gold lead. I mean, last hits right now. The Alchemist already at 5 could be matched up in the middle against this Pudge. Venom off to a slow start as he got ganked early on, and already very low. Has 1 tango to his name and sitting at a quarter health. So he's going to have a little bit of a tough start on this lane.
All right. So yeah, the Clockwork should have a pretty easy lane up here. There aren't any hard stuns to go around. So he can just kind of hang out wherever he wants to hang out. And with the cogs, he should be absolutely fine. He might not always have mana, but he should always be able to be basically within experience range. The Spirit Breaker, perhaps a bit more in danger. There is a stun combination available at level 2. Cold Feet alongside the Wraith Fire Blast. So for Spirit Breaker, this is definitely a game where he's vulnerable.
Okay. Let's see. So when you look at this game based on the lineups, what do you think is going to be the lane that's really important for either team to sort of come away with?
Mid is definitely a lane that is going to need to be very heavily invested by Radiant, and we're actually seeing that as they are dual laning mid right now. They want to make sure this Alchemist gets off to a good start, and Pudge is going to do what he can.
That's some damage. It might be a kill. Mattel low. He's going to go down to rot. Came in, been a nice play. Invested on the 2-for-1, but Venom said, no. Tower range, buddy. Tower range.
Yeah, that was a very nice hook. And this is just Venom showing that he is that technically skilled Pudge that we were talking about. And he does make a lot of nice plays. He has a lot of good decisions that he makes, and even though he doesn't always land those hooks, he lands a lot of them. Granted, he also just tends to land hooks that aren't as beneficial. But even so, definitely a lane to keep an eye on. Against a melee hero, Pudge has an innate advantage, right? So this is a lane that's going to be difficult for the Alchemist.
Yeah, and it's definitely proving that way as well. Venom, who was low, I talked about how he had very little regen, not a lot to go on, able to get a kill out of it, and now he's got his bottle refilled and ready to go. So nice early plays by Venom here in this lane as he's already level 5 up against that 4 Alchemist. Down the bottom, Beavis sucking up XP as best he can. He's only level 2 as Xenos King and the rest of the crew have been doing a good job of trying to keep him out of XP range. On the flip side of that, we'll go to the top lane where below 4K is below 3 as he's sitting at a very soft 2 and almost completely boxed out of that top.
He is stacking Ancients though.
Well,
so
he's
going to miss this one, but he did get 1. So, and he's going to try to stack it with the missile, which is magical damage, so that won't work, although I do love the try. That will work on any camp except an Ancient camp.
Right.
He got the timing right if it mechanically would have worked. So, that was interesting. In terms of this mid lane, though, Pudge is walking away a pretty happy camper, all things considered.
Especially because they keep investing a double. They keep rotating people around to try and slow him down, but it's just not working.
Yeah. This is just going to make it easier for him to grab kills later on, too. On the AA, on the Clockwork. These are going to be heroes that are under-leveled and easily taken down by a hook.
And that Alchemist got to be careful now because Venom does now have Dismember ready to go. If he gets pulled in under tower, it'll be the death of him. 4K going to get pushed back, harassed constantly by Derek Yannon. That really annoying last word. Down to the bottom where Beavis gets stunned on the rotation. Xenos King comes in. There's the roll. Boom. And down goes the Spirit Breaker. That's actually a really nice combo. Xenos King with Jesse there on the Wraith King. The slow and the stun of Wraith King almost always gives more than enough time for Xenos to have his cold feet go off. And you know, Spirit Breaker just paying the price. And a lot of folks forget about that. Not only does Wraith King have a really strong early game stun, but it comes with a slow duration of 2 seconds. So it's a full 4 seconds where you're not moving much. And if I remember correctly, Cold Feet's a 4-second activation. Yep, it's a 4-second activation.
And
so
not only that, but you also have the Ice Shards to block him in place so he
Yep.
can't run away even if he wants to.
So that said, Venom gets another kill over the mid position, takes out the Alchemist, utilize that combo. We said he was 6, and you got to be careful. And apparently Alchemist is not listening to the stream.
Yeah, well, fortunately, he's not stream sniping. AA did rotate in to try and make something happen here, but now he's kind of vulnerable, to be honest. One hook, and we're going to see the Trempt. Oh, it is stutter step because the creep was in the way. He's still going to go for it, though, yeah.
All right, back to that mid where the fight is on. In comes Xenos King. Sex now back to the mid lane to get his farm up. Almost 4K. Still level 2. Desperately stacking Ancients, and he almost dies as he gets the stack up. Takes so much damage. So he's going to go back to base and heal, presumably, after getting it up. That said, Derek Yan, I believe, they do know that the stacks are happening. They have vision here. Venom wants to get the hook, looking for the Alchemist from the side. Alk using a good job of using that ward up on the high ground to keep an eye on him and keep those creeps in range. And he'll head down towards the bottom rune as he does know that Pudge is hanging out nearby. Derek Yan comes in, puts up the sentry ward, trying to find the ward that he knows is there, but it just barely misses the obvious ward that the guys from Radiant have put up. I almost said Alliance, that's funny.
Vlad's is finished now on the, on the Lycan, so he should be ready to jump into the jungle if he needs to. That'll give his team a bit more experience, or he should be ready to just straight up try to push this tower. One of those two things should happen right now, though.
Beavis almost level 6, so be looking for that before he goes a ganking, and he is awful close as he's able to get these creeps back behind the tower. Let's look in on the farm as Wraith King is level 5, so he's keeping pace. The offlane are not able to get too far out in front of him, which is exactly what you want. On your safe lane, he's got a Hand of Midas up at 7 minutes, so a nice fast hand that he looks like he will take into the jungle.
He has a crazy amount of stacks available here, too, and granted, almost all those are going to go to the Alchemist for good reason, but probably he can leech a bit of those stack just out with the Midas, right? As long as they're there, he can take the biggest creep every now and then.
Now up on top, we got a push going. Kim Jong, Psycho, and Derek going to start to hit this tower very, very hard. Back to lane where they see Beavis could be in a little bit of trouble. They're going to force him backwards. He sees the Cold Feet come up, cannot stick around. Can't charge top as he's still waiting on that 6. Tower dropping low as Kim Jong and the crew would like to push that down before rotating into the jungle. It looks like make lots of safe farm for his team, allow him to hit both the lane and the jungle as he sort of grows from there. So in they go. They summon what they got. Alchemist picked off again by Venom, who is putting in some work right now. He'll rotate down towards the bottom where Beavis has just hit 6 and is going to sit there and wait for the rotation from the Pudge. Top tower falls in the meantime, and it looks like Tusk's going to try to get a little farm in the mid.
All right, so they are, CMU is playing this textbook right now, right? They've got the Vlads, they immediately pushed, as I said, that's what they need to do. They now should rotate
There's
probably
the stun.
to the
They want to
mid lane.
go. Oh, F that catapult! Dismembered him. Could be in trouble for Beavis as the rest of the team comes in, but nope, there's a 1. Beavis still looks like he will survive. Jesse does not have the stun. Beavis gets out and ends up being the double despite Venom's best efforts to not allow it to happen that way. Venom comes up, gets caught inside of the Dismember. Jesse comes up, sorry, gets caught in the Dismember, ends up going down. So 2 kills on the Wraith King to make it official, and the Ancient Apparition dies as well. I thought when that catapult got hooked, things were about to go south, but good reactions by the CMU guys to come in and help out with it. Definitely secure.
Great rotations all around, and that's 4 more stolen intelligence for the silencer. Eventually it's going to be flesh heaps as well, because remember, although back when I started playing, you didn't retroactively get flesh heaps, now you do. It's part of the hero base. You just don't get any of the bonuses from those kills until you level flesh heap up. So he will be taking the benefits of that once he starts to level those. So any kill here, like this Ancient Apparition that he's about to hook.
Oh, beautiful. So that was a really nice hook, right? Like, he saw him, he waited, he planned out the pathing, and basically waited for a spot where he knew movement speed gets bottlenecked here, and there's only one spot that he can go to. So the hook is an easy throw, and that was just a really nice.
He also angled it in such a way that it is the shallowest angle possible relative to the path. So he knew as long as the Ancient Apparition was walking to lane, he would walk on this path. So he wants to try and make his hook as parallel to that line as possible, and that just maximizes the points on that location, right, where the hitboxes will overlap.
Spiritbreaker was able to run out of a gank attempt, as Sex has not picked up any points in Unstable Concoction, so he was unable to stun that charge as he tried to escape.
Venom's just waiting up here. He's going to grab another one.
There he goes.
Same
Goes again.
exact
Catch
spot.
him. Nice roll. Will it be enough? Venom's going to run, though. He says basically come farther away from your team, but actually ends up walking into the rest of the team as Jesse is waiting for him. Venom going to try to run so he can get himself a deny as he puts some space. Oh, not even a deny. Just blinks away and TPs to safety. So next level plays by Venom. Silencer came in to help, but was not needed.
Meanwhile, an Aegis goes to wave Kim Jong-il, and beautiful Urn play still gets Pudge the kill, and Spiritbreaker gets a solo kill on the Clockwork top.
Is this real life?
This is real life. This is not fantasy.
It's everywhere. Everything's
You
going on.
are not in a landslide, my friend.
I can't keep up. Every time I turn around, I was like, oh, Aegis. Oh, kill. What?
Yeah, oh, by the way, there was a double damage rune waiting outside of the pit when the Aegis was done, so this tower will drop instantly.
Wow. Fortune smiles upon CMU as they roll up to 4,000 gold, 4,000 XP. Continue to push. Kim Jong-il getting an awful lot of farm, has that Aegis, has that Vlad's offering, and has 1,000 gold in the bank waiting to play.
So this is kind of what you might expect because the Hand of Midas did come out on the Wraith King, right? He is being punished for that. He does not have the ability to effectively move into opponents at all, and neither does the Alchemist, really, who, by the way, went for an armlet style build. So he has not gotten anything that will help that Wraith King come back up into the game. Yeah, unlike getting drums, unlike getting Radiance.
Abundantly clear to me that RIT was building for a late game. The problem is they need not be given that opportunity, as CMU is playing very aggressively, putting together some push, and very clearly building to not have a late game. Now Sex is going to have to run. He will go down, so a good Alchemist kill. Venom comes in, uses that Rot to solidify. In comes Tusk. Venom wants to go on him. Does have some plays. There comes the Snowball, going to take him to a safer position, but Kim Jong-il is in very deep. Psycho God going to close, has the Cold Embrace ready if it is needed. Hooks out of the cog, so a beautiful play, and dodges the Ancient Apparition ultimate as they will now retreat and take a tower for their trouble. So a double kill, a beautiful hook out of a defensive cog.
There's more coming. There's more coming.
Venom wants it there. Oh, just barely misses Matau. He's going to blink up to the high ground and walk away, as Psycho God was actually doing a nice job of staying just out of space, putting up some good aggressive wards here, and making sure that he was there in case Pudge needed his Cold Embrace. So good plays. More importantly, because of that hook, I'm sure this wasn't planned, but it pulled the entire team out of what was a very beautiful Ancient Apparition ultimate that could have spelled disaster for at least 2 heroes on that team.
Yeah. just one of those happy little coincidences there. There's a charge going on the Alchemist, and bear in mind that this doesn't get easier as this goes on. Silencer already has 10 Stolen Intelligence as a support Silencer. Pudge is going to have to run away from this for good reason, but he is sitting on top of 9 Flesh Heap stacks already. So that's a bonus 9 strength already. It will eventually be a bonus 20-ish strength.
What a hook! What a hook! Catches Sex. Sex pops the stun.
I don't think.
He's gonna have to stun himself.
He can blink in now, and he will.
That's just the job. Down he goes. 4K comes in to try and help it out. Venom goes godlike, and Beavis cancels right before the cog block.
That was just brilliant play by the Silencer to land that silence and wait, knowing that the Alchemist would have to stun himself after that. Just absolutely perfect. The only little tiny bit of anything he could have done better there is when the Pudge blinked in, he could have moved within range to steal that intelligence. He was probably at about 1,200 range. He needs to be at 9.
Here comes a stun on Jesse. Jesse in the trees, has enough for his ultimate. Jukes around through the forest. Psycho God wants to make the chase. Catches him inside of the Cold Embrace. That'll allow for the first burn down. Huge Ancient Apparition. Big roll in. Catches one. Jesse's dropping low. Venom comes in to help out. Up comes the Wraith King. Down goes... Oh man, Spiritbreaker dropped down. Venom in some trouble now as he gets popped out with a really nice cog. They're zoning Venom anywhere that they can, and this should be a triple that I think RIT really need to get their hands on. They'll finish him off. No! Big deny. Nicely played by CMU as they back away, but still a good 2 that should allow them to convert this into a push. A much needed shift of momentum for the guys from RIT. Gold lead is over 5,000 for CMU, as is the XP, and it still continues to flow in their direction. Meanwhile, on the bottom, Sex is going to come in and stop the push from Lycan. Lycan down to 200 HP. He has to watch out for that Ancient Apparition ult should he try to go fishing. He does have it up, but he's not choosing to fish. He was just pinged by his team, saying maybe you should try to go ahead and get a little bit of a fishing shot out here, but at level 1, it's not really going to matter.
Wolf is scouting here too, which I like
Oh,
a
here
lot.
comes a
They
big
know exactly
charge.
what they're getting into.
Good shard stop.
And they're just going to back out. They don't have the Pudge, who is obviously the key playmaker here. I really do like the way that CMU adapted their draft here. Instead of going with the bounty hunter that they had last time, this time around they've gotten some much more aggressive mid-game heroes that are able to actually output damage. What is Kim Jong-il doing?
He's trying to burn the Aegis spell.
Oh, okay.
He's like, cogs don't matter. Whatever. I'm coming back. So here he comes up. Aegis is used to refresh him. In comes the stun from the Alchemist. Kim Jong will back up. Alchemist going to charge very, very deep.
That was...
I'm always curious.
I don't know why he would do that instead of just letting it expire. It still would have healed him, and then he wouldn't have been in... Like, if that had been a hook shot onto this location with the stun, with an AA ult, he would have died right after, probably. It might have been some trades, but it would have been a really weird, funny, silly way for a farming carry to die.
So Kim Jong is going to get engaged on. Here comes the stun from the high ground. Out it goes. Big hook. Going to grab one and isolate, so 4K will drop in the trees with Derek Yann's help. They catch Sex. He's in some trouble. Beavis wants to make the chase happen. Down he goes. Good stun there. In comes the finish from Jesse, though, to take one for the price of two. And CMU will be happy with that. As now Venom wants to go deep. He's a little bit exposed. Caught with the Walrus Punch. Psycho God wants to come to the trade. Puts up the Golden Brace. This might actually work against Venom, though, as in comes the Snowball. Catches Psycho. Derek Yann's going to go around. Turns up. Gets finished off by a nice Ice Shard. This could be the end. Metallic's going to go down. Down goes the Ancient Apparition. And now Jesse in some trouble, so I take it back. A great play by Psycho God that allows them to keep some things in action. Venom's going to have the blink off in just a second. Catches Jesse. Finishes the job. Does get caught by the cogs, though. He's got to go the long way around. Can he get out? Psycho God's got the Cold Embrace. We'll give it to him for a second to heal him up. Ancient Apparition is going to actually miss because of the Cold Embrace. Venom trying to get away, but taking so much tower damage. And now a TP comes in to try and finish the job as Sex wants to make sure Venom goes down. Venom buying a ton of space and just running every direction he can. And that will be the end of what? All that time, and he ends up with the deny.
I saw with that much space between you and your opponents, you just smile all the way to the bank, man. There's no way they were going to close that gap.
Gold climbs up to 7,500 for CMU, XP at 7,500 as well, and that's one of those denies that it's hard not to get on the keyboard and taunt after getting. Derek Yann going to go invis with that rune, track Xenos King around here just a little bit to see if he's alone. Not going to be able to do much, though. Just going to kind of keep vision on the opposing team. Great wards by Dire right now. Their aggressive vision is out freaking rageous. Look at that.
And also, Silencer just happens to be hanging out down here. Going to get a free kill and walk away. Probably.
Well, not necessarily free. As Xenos King comes in, CMU is going to lose the Silencer. But you know what? That's a good trade for a Clockwork.
Always worth a one-on-one trade for Silencer if it doesn't cost you an objective. Right? Because Silencer just got intelligence.
Yep. Yes, he did. He's smart.
Granted, that did give out a lot of gold, so maybe not always worth it, but they are far enough ahead that the 500 gold swing is a drop in the bucket. I would take the 2 intelligence for that 9 out of 10 times.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Clockwork is actually he's farmed way under far compared to the Silencer, so I guess like you said, not as valuable as we thought it was, but still a good
definitely in this case worth it. Usually worth it to get that Silencer kill. Now, one of the saving graces, honestly, for the Radiant has been that they have been killing the Silencer off early in these fights. So he hasn't been stealing nearly as much intelligence relative to 18 kills, right? He's been around for 7 of those. That's honestly, that's not too bad. So and he is a support as well.
Venom pushing solo. He's got the Ag Scepter and a double damage in the bank. So he's looking to combo that up with a nice little Dismember if he can put the combo together. And that's why he's so far forward playing aggressively. But everybody's just too scared of him right now. So if he's not visible on the map, it just plays this mind game with RIT. And you can tell that they're caught inside of that. Meanwhile, up on top, we've got Clockwork and Sax going to push together towards this top lane, hoping to try and take their first tier 1 of the match.
Yeah, they need to get something, but they can't be too aggressive here. Once again, the Radiant's not quite out yet, which means they're just going to go for it. They don't care. They're going to
pop
smoke.
The smoke. They've got to try to make these plays.
They were seen doing that, though, so everybody's going to back out. They're not going to make anything happen here.
Down in the mid is where Venom wants to stand by. He's got 2 guys on backup with him. They put down a ward just to make sure that nobody has vision on what they're trying to do. And then Derek Yan says, I'm going to go baiting. And Venom says, please do.
Yep, he is a worm on a hook down here. And they also know, because they saw a smoke up top, that there's at most 2 heroes coming to try and kill the silencer, right? Because they're not going to rotate with the smoke all the way down here.
All right, so he slips forward. Radiant does have vision in that spot, though, so they see him immediately and ping out the Pudge. So Pudge just backs away. Meanwhile, up on top, the charge is on. Out come the TPs. Can he get there before it goes? Yes, they can. Oh, Sext is going to find himself in a situation. As much as he yells a safe word, they are not going to let him out of that one. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, Tusk gets caught by Venom, and the kill goes through. 15 flesh heap stacks for that man as they roll aggressively down the top lane, looking to finish off the last tier 2 on the map for these boys.
Yeah, this isn't some housewives romance novel. There is no safe word. You're just going to take it.
You're going to take it.
And look at this, the Necronomicon ready. They've got the Howl up in 8 seconds. This is going to be a tower. It might be 2. No Radiance on the Alchemist. He does have the armlet, but doesn't honestly really matter because he can't toggle it because he's being forced into these long stuns.
Yeah. All right, nice ward pinged out by his team saying, guys, they have vision up here, but what can you really do about that? At this point in time, they need the Alchemist to come up. Harassment comes out from Tusk. Kim Jong-il wants to stick around, pops the Howl, lets his wolves do a little bit of damage, but they're not going to take the risk. They back off, wait for the creep wave. Meanwhile, down the bottom, they do see Xenos King on standby. Xenos happy to try and get a little bit of farm in his pocket. That level 11 ult, very, very important for him. And the long-range Ice Shard, probably, honestly, long-range Ice Blast probably more effective than him being anywhere near this fight with the level situation he's in. That said, Spirit Breaker tastes some tasty free gold and wants to go for Xenos King, who stuck a little too long. Gonna grab a TP, but not before his death. Yeah,
he won't be able to get away, and he will be giving up some intelligence as well.
Oh, nice play. So Derek Yan comes in there, gets the free intelligence, and you know, that's the really upside of a silencer, right? You figure when you're in a position in the Ancient Apparition, super underfarmed, not a lot of levels, you figure, if I can pick up a fair amount of gold on a push while they're distracted, get myself a level or 2, if I do get picked off, it's not the end of the world because I don't have a lot to give away. That said, with the silencer on the other side, there's always a lot to give away.
A did just before he died. He finished his Hand of Midas. He has not had a chance to use it yet because it hasn't even been assembled yet.
Right.
That I am a odd proponent of the Hand of Midas AA. I think that it works very well, but this is late even by my standards, especially if you have an Alchemist on your team. And Pudge is just going to get a kill. He had an Invis rune. Not a lot to see there.
Yeah.
It's just walk up and death.
Easy peasy Venom. Twitch chat insists Dendy must be standing behind him at the desk right now.
Yeah, I think he might be Dendy. maybe not that extreme, but he's doing very well.
He's got the same playstyle though, right? That sort of like
that's the
back me
playstyle
up,
you
guys.
have to have with Pudge. You
That's
absolutely need that playstyle if you want to be a successful Pudge. His team has been able to support him much better this game because they have A, better initiation, B, they're more aggressively stands all the time.
He was just trying to catch up to his friends for saving Midas.
He was trying to run out and use his Midas, I think.
Does get the ultimate, comes through, big hook by the Clockwork. This could be some trouble for Venom. He's going to go ahead and try to get the hook, misses it, and he will ultimately go down. No freaking way. Oh my god. Gets the self-deny. Drives RIT to the state of complete fury, I would imagine. Psycho God pushes back the Tusk, and they will take this mid tower. And Kim Jong gonna want to back away here as in comes the stun. He's gonna have to throw it early before he gets out of range. Doesn't happen. Nice silence from the silencer to allow Sex to stun himself and get the split push, get Kim Jong out of the danger zone. Now he'll heal up so he can continue with the assault, and they're pinging out Sex, and we can go on him. The charge is there. He is dropping low. They're going to go ahead and hold him in place with a beautiful little play until the stun gets in unnecessarily. Good ulti from the Ancient Apparition, going to scare Spirit Breaker back. Walrus Punch on Psycho God. Spirit Breaker should survive, though, as that's still level 1. Kim Jong will go down, but he's got the Aegis, so he's coming right back up. Jesse and the crew have to be careful because he's going to come back with a vengeance. And no ultimate, though, so he may actually find himself in some serious trouble. Caught with Cogs and an Ice Shard, Kim Jong will give up a kill. There's going to be a good amount of gold off of that kill.
Eric's as well here pretty soon, or rather, already one down.
Psycho God TP's out to safety.
Pudge is still hanging around. He's going to get this AA again. Look at it right here. There it is. And
Oh, no. Poor guy.
he had no mana even. The poor AA still was out there without even enough mana to throw Cold Feet down defensively, right?
He's just trying so hard to use the Midas.
It's...
And get
I said
anything
it during
he
the
can.
draft. AA is not a good hero to have up against Pudge in most cases
Right.
because he is a hero that needs level, so he is squishy and often by himself. It just doesn't work out very well against the Pudge. Granted, the Cold Feet is a pretty decent spell to be casting on a Pudge. It does stop off that Blink Dagger, and it also interrupts the Dismember, potentially. But the fact that that Pudge can just get Flesh Eat Sap after Flesh Eat Sap, right, off of this AA really hurts.
Yeah, well, and he's at 18 right now, so 45 bonus damage, not too shabby, as he looks like he wants to get another pick off, has the Invis Rune, just waiting for Alchemist, and goes with the hook, gets the grab. Alchemist will drop down.
Perfect timing. He waited for that ultimate then, too.
I know, right?
He knows what he's doing, and
Yeah,
he's
he
got
does.
the team to back him up now. You notice that every time a maybe sort of risky play comes out of that Pudge, the Spirit Breaker's already charging.
Well, he's super
just in case
confident.
it
He's
turns.
super confident, too, with his hooks, because
Yeah.
I would say traditionally you'd see a player with an Invis Rune in that Alchemist situation just walk up and engage for the simple shot. But instead, he was confident enough in his angles that he was like, easy hook, extra damage, burn him down, and did it perfectly.
Yeah, it's a oh well, he missed that hook, and that was a hook that I would have expected him to land, to be honest. But he's been making so many. His hook accuracy has to be above 80%, which
Oh,
is
yeah,
just
for sure.
stellar.
For sure.
Just stellar.
So it's Kim Jong and the rest of the crew wants to go. Venom gets another hook. Jesse's like, oh, no, where am I? He's going to have to run like the Dickens. Beavis going to get hit by the ultimate, but he goes for the charge anyway. Ends up charging some creeps instead of the Xenos King. Backs away. Venom going in deep. Says, you don't have any towers. I'm not afraid. Catches almost full of 4K. Here comes the roll. He backs himself up, but that puts Tusk in a dangerous position. Kim Jong, like a race car, decides not even to engage. Runs right through his enemies and goes straight for the bottom tower. Jesse gonna get slowed down. Nice play, and the hook to finish the job so that you find death outside of base as Venom continues to play the outside while Kim Jong-il plays the inside. Sext in some trouble. There's the blink, goes ahead, pops up, gets the ultimate burning rot to the teardown, and comes a nice shard, but too little, too late as Venom gets the finish. Buyback from the Tusk. In comes the ultimate for Xenos King, who's going to feed himself to the Venom again. Kim Jong does ultimately go down at the back end of this. Derek in a little bit of trouble, going to roll after Sight God, but they switched off. Jesse wants to try to finish Derek. Going to come out with the ice shards. Derek should give his life for this, but that's two for a wonderful exchange. Venom actually goes back to try and take himself a Rax. Blinks to safety as Jesse TPs in to stop him. And that's going to be they got the melee racks and the tower up here. They got the melee racks and the tower on the bottom. Beavis trying to finish this ranged racks. Can he do it? Going to get the stun and the walrus punch. And now he's got to run to try to get himself away. Pops the Shadow Blade. Do they have vision? Oh, the hook rescue, but the hook shot to try and close the deal. Each operation going to miss. As Spirit Breaker does have to run away. Venom may actually give his life for the rescue. Had he let Spirit Breaker die, he would have lived. Good guy Venom. Not going to be allowed to deny this time. Godlike streak ends, and 1.1k gold goes to Matau for killing him.
Yeah, and that's not including the AoE gold, right? That kill by itself was worth 2,085 gold in total to the various members. That's almost 1,200 to the killer, and about 300 apiece to everybody who was around.
Yeah. I will say though, we're probably going to game 3, right?
Oh yeah, Radiant, despite how questionably this game is going, has not pre-planned against Megas. They don't have anybody with a Maelstrom or Mjolnir or even a Battle Fury, so they don't really have the tools they need in order to survive this onslaught.
So they're going to try their best, but all they're going to do is lose racks to the creeps, basically, coming out of... I mean, what are they... Lycan's just tearing them to shreds. They're almost out of racks. They're going to have Megas, like you said, in just a minute. Game should be over. So we're probably going to 3, and I will be blown away if I don't see a respect band come out on that Pudge in the first or second slot in the next game.
Yeah, well, remember the first game, it really didn't work out for them. The Pudge was mechanically very skilled, but he ended up throwing away so many kills that arguably, I would say, he was one of the contributing factors to the loss.
True.
So I think a big part of this victory has been the aggressive carry of the Lycan that's able to engage and capitalize on the space. It's been the aggressive Spirit Breaker.
The Spirit Breaker, I think you're right. That Spirit Breaker coming into the assist has been phenomenal. Beavis
Yeah. Not to take away from
No.
how amazing Venom has been playing. He has been playing very, very, very well. But it's more than just the punch.
I think what we're getting at is Venom was just as good in the last game, but lacked the follow-up to close the deal. Whereas in this game, every time that he's landed a superb hook, either a fight is pulling them away so that they cannot rescue the hooked victim, or the entire team is closing the gap very quickly to make sure that Venom has any backup that he needs.
Right.
And that's been really, really pretty. Venom, by the way, now has an Octarine core on him and is looking for more hooks and more fun.
And
There it is.
Oh,
Jesse goes in with the charge, packs right by Jesse. As Spirit Breaker goes past, Jesse is going to go down, but he's got nowhere to go. As the rest of the team's going to close the distance. Jesse on the run. Ice Blast goes the long way around, doesn't actually hit anybody as he forgets to suit it off. Might have got stunned. I'm not really sure why he didn't engage that. Beavis wants to make the dive. We lost Tusk. Fight continues. Xenos King in some trouble now. Sext in some trouble as well as Beavis takes some damage from the towers, has to back away because he got stunned by the Alchemist. The GG comes out as it's a 5-man wipe to wrap this baby up. Gold lead ends over 20,000 XP at 12. And it was really a beautiful game, not just on the back of great Venom hooks, but on the back of CMU playing very well as a team and showing us the way that this draft was meant to be done. My name's Tops. You can find me at Toffees TV. I'm joined by Gorgon the Wonder Cow, my co-caster here every Tuesday and Thursday night. You can find him at the Wonder Cow over on Twitter. Make sure you check out cstarleague.com for the new banner competition that allows you to win 5, count them 5, Razer headsets. Guys, we got one more game tonight, so stick around. Don't go anywhere.